Welcome everyone and welcome in a new episode of Robert Spotlight and Robert Spotlight. Rochaino, welcome on the show.
Thanks for inviting me, Robert.
Thank you to be here. So the topic of the day is going to be NFT and marketing, and we will talk also about basically your journey. So can you introduce yourself for people that don't know you?
Sure, my name is Rochaino, 27 years old, and I'm one of the co-founders of Andro Media. We're a Web3 marketing agency, and we do practically everything marketing related for the Web3 space. So we work with a lot of DeFi projects, GameFi, NFTs, of course, marketplaces, you name it. And we do everything from helping them find the right influencers to work with, helping them with social media management, content creation, of course, PR, writing articles, publishing articles, finding partnerships, anything you can think of, anything you need.
Okay, perfect. It's a bigger umbrella. You are doing a bunch of stuff, and it's going to be very interesting to talk with you, to have your perspective on what are the good things to do, what are the things to avoid to do, and also the kind of out of the box things that someone should think of. We met at Metaverse Summit. It was in July, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So basically when I met you in Metaverse Summit, so I discovered we talk a little bit, and when you you explained me what you were doing, I immediately think that you will be a good candidate to be a guest on my show, and it's why you are here. So let's go right directly on the subject. So marketing. Do you want to start talking maybe about DeFi, GameFi, marketplace? What are you the most comfortable with?
As of the past few months, also because of the market conditions, we've been working with a lot of NFT projects. So ranging from marketplaces to aggregators to NFT projects themselves, working with a couple of traditional companies who want to make their own NFTs. So yeah, NFTs are the go-to way if you want to launch something in this space at the moment, of course. And that's what we have been working on the most for the past few months.
Perfect. So let's jump on that. So as you just said, NFT is the go-to with market condition. Are you using a strategy right now that was kind of a strategy of 2021, or are you using something new?
I think the space is evolving continuously, and so marketing tactics that worked a year ago might not work today. Also because people change, the space changes, and the tools we use change. So what we used a year ago you could do an airdrop where you hand out certain people your token, for example, and then they would actually come and take a look at your project, read about it, join the community. But today that's not the same anymore. You need to really engage with people, you need to talk with people, and you need to find the right people to engage. So what we've been doing a lot is we work on the partnership side, where we help different NFT communities, new ones and old ones, bigger ones and smaller ones, to connect with each other and then help them grow together. And in my opinion, that's right now the best way to go.
Okay. And could you go a little bit further on this side? Could you try to give a more actionable tips? Because it's like right now with the market condition, do partnership, right? Could you give some? I have a struggle to find the good word in English, but basically, could you keep talking about that a little bit to move deeper?
Yeah, sure. So to give you a practical example, let's say you're in the GameFi space and you're building a game. Then you need users, you need people to actually play the game. A year ago, or in a traditional market, it would be enough to just have an article written about you, or it would be enough to just have a commercial on TV, and then people would join in and play your game. Today, that's not really working anymore. So what we try to do is we try to find other GameFi projects, or we try to find other communities within the Web3 space who are also involved in GameFi. So builders, developers, founders, players, of course, anyone we can find. And then we try to find similarities. Are the games similar? Are the games completely different? And can you play two games at the same time or one after the other? And then we start talking to each other like, hey, I like what you're building. I like the game. I know some other people who are also into the GameFi. Would you be interested in having a collab with them and maybe see what we can do for each other? And in some cases, one of the GameFi projects we've been working with is kind of a race team. And what they offered to their partners was, if you join us, if we do a collaboration and we help each other with the marketing, we can take your NFT, make it into a character, and then your character, your NFT, can also participate in our game as one of the racing characters. So that's one of the ways we try to offer a little bit more utility to both of the communities, as well as help the GameFi sector expand a little bit more. So yeah, that's one of the more practical examples. So not just finding people who are interested, but also taking a look at the different ways we can actually benefit from each other's games or benefit from each other's communities.
Okay.
So that could be artwork, could be additions to your game, whatever you can think of.
Okay, perfect. So, and what was the reaction of both community?
In most cases, the reactions are positive, because what you see is that people who buy an NFT, after a while, they get a little bit bored. They want to see some more action. They want to get some more engagement. And not everyone's roadmap is the same. So usually they bring out a roadmap before they start to raise funds or before they launch the NFT. And they say, we promise you this and that, and we're going to build amazing stuff. But you still have to deliver. You still have to uphold your promise to the community, of course. In some cases, that's a pretty hard task, and we try to help them as much as possible. So in most cases, our partners are really interested in the value we add. And of course, for the GameFi or even for the profile picture NFTs, once you have a community within Web3, it's also your job to keep them engaged and to keep them active and to keep them interested within the Web3 space and within your community. So a lot of people are really happy with what we do, because they buy an NFT and they expect to get more value from it than they paid for. And then we add value in the terms of free whitelist spots, or you could be one of the first ones to try out a new game, or you could be one of the beta testers for a new marketplace. And so they really like what we're doing. So we're getting some pretty positive reviews.
Okay, perfect. You talked about roadmap. Did roadmap are still used by your project today? Do you advise to use a roadmap, because roadmap was like a big keyword in 2021? Did it still a big keyword in 2022?
I think a roadmap is important no matter what the market conditions are, because you do have to inform your community, hey, this is why you're buying the NFT, or this is why you're investing into a token. This is what we've planned, and it will take us up to a year, up to 2 years to accomplish everything. So in order to get people to actually believe in you, you have to show them something. And it could be a white paper, a light paper, a roadmap, anything to just give people something they can actually read into, and they can see whether or not you're on track. Because that's also an important thing. You have to be on track. If you say, I promise to invite you to my spotlight and we'll do so at the end of the week, then you have to do so. And your audience is also waiting for the spotlight, right? So I think roadmaps are still important. Also today, also in these market conditions, I will say it's a little bit harder to actually accomplish everything, because they are generally raising less funds. For the NFTs, the mint prices are a bit lower than they expected. So a lot of projects have been timing out on the roadmaps, but I think that's also just market conditions.
Okay. In fact, where I wanted to go, it's more on the kind of new trend, not new trend, but it's already it's actual. It's like in 2021, it was very trendy to come up with first thing. It's one landing page with roadmap 10%, 20%, 30%, etc. And we also find we also watch the opposite happen. Kind of NFT project launching without any roadmap. It's you believe on me or you don't believe on me, and it's up to you. So it's what I wanted to talk about. And in your point of view, and also based on what you are seeing on the market, did roadmap are still mandatory?
I think they are. Yeah. If you
Okay.
want to build a solid project and if you want to really convince people in what you're doing, I think a roadmap is the way to go. Because in the examples you named, not every project has a roadmap, of course, just like you mentioned. But I don't think that those are the projects you really want to invest in or you really want to join. Because typically, how long do these types of projects survive? They haven't planned anything. They haven't checked with their finances. You don't know how much they're raising. You don't know what the money is going to. Where's the money being used? So I think the Web3 space also thrives on transparency. People use blockchain because you can see where the money is going. You can read smart contracts if you're a developer. So you can actually see what's happening behind the screens, even if someone's not telling you. But then if someone doesn't have a roadmap, he's not trying to be transparent. So what does that say about the project?
Yes. So in that, me, I'm kind of not agree with you, because that can be, but it's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, sure,
The
sure.
roadmap can be used as a marketing trick. And that it's not a proof of it's promises, but it's not
Yeah,
a guarantee, a
yeah, no,
guarantee of anything, and on the other side, when you take the road of no roadmap upfront, it's like a bet on the founder. The things that you have, it's what is the portfolio of the founder, what the founder have
mhm,
already built, so it's kind of and it's why I'm not totally agree with you, but I understand when you are coming from, and with the aspect of, okay, I'm trying to be as communicated as possible with my
exactly.
community, and
Yeah.
it's like this thing is going to be used as the judge of did I'm doing a great job or not, and if
Mhm.
we are on track or not.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from as well, because even if they have a great roadmap, then it's still not a certainty that they're going to succeed. So I understand where you're coming from as well.
Okay, perfect. Anything else on collaboration partnership? Do you anything else that you want
Um,
to add?
if someone sees this spotlight and you're into NFTs, you have an NFT project of yourself, do reach out to us. You can reach out to me through Robert or through my own LinkedIn. And yeah, let's continue. Let's help the space grow.
Okay. What kind of on which project would you want to work? What would be, for example, if you have a magic pen and you can write anything that you want, and this thing will happen in real life.
Mhm.
What would be the kind of project that you would want to work on for collaboration stuff?
Mm, I think more on the entertainment side, so the traditional entertainment side,
Mm.
because you have these big companies. You have companies like Marvel and DC and Fox even, and they're making a lot of TV shows. They're making a lot of movies as well, and that's something I really want to incorporate into the Web3 space, because you have a lot of people who are designing their own artwork, their own profile picture NFTs, building their own games even, but you still have, let's say, for example, Marvel with the Avengers, and I would want to work together with Avengers NFT, for example, just saying something out loud. And you have DC, where they've tried to do some NFT stuff as well, but I think they can do more and they can do a better job. And the same thing with companies as Fox, the bigger media companies. Those are the companies I want to work with.
Okay, makes sense. And so just to move forward with your example of Avengers, would you see a collaboration with another Web3 project, or would you take the word of with all you can launch your NFT project? What would be the word?
Um, Ideally, for me, the goal would be to help them form one of their own Web3 NFT projects, and that could be a game, that could be profile pictures. It's up to them, of course. But ideally, the goal would be to create an NFT where I can have them partner with different Web3 communities and really add some real life value. So, for example, you buy the NFT and then you can get a meet and greet, a red carpet whenever there's a new Marvel movie, for example. those are the kind of things I want to work on, where you can get the Web3 space, get the online community, and then bring them some real world value as well. And I think you do need the bigger traditional partners to be able to give people a lot of real world utility, because they have a lot of capital, because they have an enormous audience. And the Web3 space is still a little bit small. So it would also help the Web3 space grow by bringing in the traditional audience. So I think it could be a win-win.
Okay, perfect. It's on, and this section can be clipped, and you can send it to whatever
whatever company
making a decision on a Marvel. Let's move on. Let's talk about you talk also about influencers.
Mm-hmm.
What can you share with that?
About working with influencers, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So in my opinion, they're not good or bad. It depends on the influencer, depends on the content they're creating, as well as the platforms, of course. So for example, a year ago, you would have a lot of YouTube and Twitter influencers. And whenever they make a video about your project, whenever they write a tweet about your project, the price would go up. That's what people have been used to. So they follow influencers because they expect to earn a lot of money. They're not following because your content is good. They're not following because you're sharing knowledge. They're following you because you're talking about projects, shilling projects, and they hope to buy. So that's one of the first things I'd like to say. That's not exactly the most organic way to grow, in my opinion, because the same people that would buy your NFT because they expect it would increase in value are the same people who would sell your NFT if it's not. So that's not the way to build a community.
Mm-hmm.
You do have some influencers who have been more active on the organic side, so really talking to their community, really explaining to them, hey, this is a good project in my opinion. This is why I think so, or this is a project which I wouldn't invest in, and then explain what they are thinking instead of just, hey, this is going to 100x, this is going to be a gem, buy it and hold it in your portfolio. So I like to work with some influencers who generate content in a more honest way. And if there's something that you don't like, then you could also tell it to your community. So for example, if you're an influencer, Robert, and I can show you one of my NFT projects, and there are things you do like and there are things you don't like, you're free to tell your audience like, hey, I think this is a great NFT project, but I don't like their roadmap, for example. Because I need to give you the space to be honest to your community, because if you're not honest to the community, then you're just hiring people to lie for you. And that's not a positive thing. So you can work with influencers. We are working with influencers, but they have to be genuine. They have to be honest people.
Okay, perfect. So basically, it's the advice that you can give to an NFT project. It's if you want to take the path of influencer marketing, you
Pick the right ones.
need to accept the consequence of that path, and don't force someone to say some lie.
No, exactly. And if you pick the wrong influencers, their communities will also destroy your project. They will dump your price, and it's not a good thing. So pick the right influencers, and if you don't know how to pick them, or if you don't know any influencers, I'm your guy. Get in contact with me, and we'll settle it out.
Could you? I want to take another approach. I get the jab here, but my question is, which tips could you give to an NFT project to do influencer marketing the good way without relying on a marketing agency?
So all of the marketing they can do on themselves, you mean?
Yes. In fact, it's what would you say? Basically, where I want to go, it's like it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's like the secret sauce. It's like communicate your secret, basically. Because basically when you say come see us, it's like we know how to do it, and so come to see us. But upfront, give the information upfront. And this thing can be clipped on social, and can be used as a pre-roller ads, can be seen as organic content on TikTok, on whatever, and can lead to business as well.
Okay, got it. Our secret sauce, I think it's just being genuine people. Because, for example, I met you in Paris, and there was an immediate click. We had a fun conversation. We had some drinks. We had some talks about the Web3 space, and I think that's a great starting point. Because then I know that you're trying to do your job the best you can. You try to give your audience the best spotlight you can give, and I'm trying to help my clients in the best way possible as well. So I think that's a great starting point, because we're not just trying to make money off of people. We're trying to give them the best service we can. And I think those are the kind of people you want to get in touch with. Those are the kind of people you want to work with. We have been doing this for a couple of years. The agency has existed for a little over 2 years right now. And I've been in the Web3 space for on and off for about 4 or 5 years. So I do know quite a lot of people. I know quite a lot of influencers, other marketing agencies, projects, founders, developers, you name it. And I do have some experience in working with these different types of parties. So for a starting NFT project, for example, you really have your hands full on designing the art, building the game, building your community, even the technical work, of course. And in my opinion, you need to build the business, and you can leave the marketing to us. Because our secret sauce, as you mentioned, is just experience. It's experience, it's networking, getting to know the right people, finding the right people to work with, and just helping each other. The secret sauce is not focusing on the money. It's not focusing on how do I sell out, how do I get people to join the community. That's something we're focused on. Like, how can you find as much people as possible? How can you find the right partnerships? Your job should just be to add value to your community, and our secret sauce is to take care of the rest.
Okay. So perfect. You talk about articles as well. So
Yes.
what can you share on this topic?
I can share a little bit. I'm usually not the one who takes care of the PR. That's one of my partners, but I can share a little bit as well. So we use over 80 platforms to actually publish articles. So you can think about platforms like Being Crypto, Cointelegraph, all of the bigger ones, some of the smaller ones as well, just to get as many eyes as possible on your project. So for example, if you're starting marketplace, just giving an example, then we could help you with sorting out your USPs. So why should people trade on your platform? Why should NFT projects list on your platform? And what are your USPs? What makes you unique? What are the points that makes you better than OpenSea, for example, or Rarible? We help you then write an article, or if you have someone on your team who can write articles as well, we just help you tweak it and perfect the article. And then afterwards, we take care of distributing the articles. And we also do so in many native languages. So we can publish articles you've written in French, and we can do so in English, in Spanish, in Arabic, different types of languages. And all of the writers are native speakers of their languages. So just to minimize the translation errors. And we've been working on the PR side for about a year now, because it wasn't something we were focused on from the beginning, because you need to have a team of writers. You need to know people who can help you publish articles. You need to get people who can give you more exposure. And it's not just about paying an agency or paying a person to get a headline on a website. That's not enough anymore. You need to reach different types of people on different types of platforms, and you need to do everything at the same time. So you need to be active on your launch. You need to be active on your roadmap. You need to be active with your community. You need to write articles, fact check the articles. You need to publish everything. You need to check your social media content, and you need to really pair everything up together to get as much action as possible. So for the PR side, it's been quite a lot of hard work, of course, because writing articles, it's not really something I do personally. It's my team who takes care of everything. But I do see the value in PR, and I think you do as well.
Yes. So perfect. Thank you for this great explanation with the workflow and everything. Same question. Here you basically you have exposed the full workflow. It's very clear. Do you think that NFT projects are taking advantage of a PR article enough?
That's a hard question, because I'd say no. If it's a good NFT project, if they're really building something, if they're really trying to add value to people, then I'd say no, because they're not really focused on the PR stuff and on the articles. They're really focused on the visuals. So what does the NFT look like? What can you do with it? And they forget to really inform people in a more sensible way, because a lot of people still read articles. Also in Web3, they use different platforms. They use Cointelegraph, for example, instead of a newspaper, but they still read. They still want to read about fun projects. They still want to know more about the Web3 space. And there aren't a lot of NFT projects taking advantage of this. On the other side, you have some projects who do work really hard on the marketing, but that doesn't really mean anything if the project itself is not good. Like you said, you could have a roadmap and you still wouldn't get the certainty that they will deliver. It's the same thing with PR. You can get a really nice article, but that doesn't say a lot about the project if they're not delivering. So everything needs to be right. Everything needs to click. And to me, PR is an add-on. It's something extra, but it can be and will be the extra that you need to really grow your community. So I don't think they're using PR enough, but I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, because you do need to really have some utility, and it does need to be a valid project.
Okay, makes sense. And so, what would be the biggest mistake of an NFT project doing with PR articles?
The biggest mistake, what they usually do, or what I've heard that they usually do before they come to a PR agency, marketing agency like us, is they try to get in contact with someone like Cointelegraph immediately. And they will say, okay, well, this is the package we have for you guys. This is what we can offer you. Bring us an article, and then you can get one day on the homepage or whatever's necessary. And they pay a pretty big price for this. Where with us, because we already know these people, because we've already been working with them, we know where they might help you and where they have some limitations. So for example, you're mainly a French speaker, and they might help you to get more exposure on the French market, because you're writing in French. But then you would still need to find ways to get to the rest of the European market. You still need to find ways to get to the Asian market or the Middle Eastern market. And if you don't have those connections, people who can translate for you, people who can rewrite your articles, people who can fact check and really put in the time and effort, then the PR would backfire, because you know what it's like to publish an article or publish even something on LinkedIn where the facts aren't checked, you have some spelling mistakes, or your sentences aren't really right, then it wouldn't get you really far, and you would have lost all the money you invested into the PR. So I think it's really important that, aside from working with one of the bigger parties, you work together with a team who's experienced in the PR, who knows what they're doing, and who can guide you through the process.
Perfect. It's perfect. Basically, it's very clear, and I don't have follow-up question on an article and PR. So you also talk about I think interview in a channel, right? At the beginning, you kind of talk partnership, influencer, article, PR, and you talk also about interview, right?
Yeah.
So what could you share on this?
On the interview side.
Yes.
I think you're familiar with the term AMA, Ask Me Anything, which is a little bit like what we're doing right now.
Yes.
Whenever we get to communities or to projects to partner up with each other, in my opinion, it's always best to hold an AMA if they're great projects. So what happens then is we help them organize either a Twitter space or just an AMA on the Discord channels. And then the communities can ask each other questions. So for example, your community who are interested in your spotlight and what you have to offer, and you partner up with one of the NFT projects who's interested in movies, for example, then your community would also get the chance to ask questions to the other community, to the other project, and ask things like, hey, how long have you guys been building this? What does the founding team look like? What are your credentials? How long do you expect to be building everything? How much money are you raising? where's the money going, what kind of value can we expect, and how can we follow you? So all of these different questions, normal questions and the tougher questions, they would get the chance to ask them. Because normally what you would see with traditional businesses is that you have the CEO, you have the management layers, and you and I, we wouldn't be able to ask them any questions. You wouldn't be able to buy shares in a company or buy something at one of the grocery stores and then ask the director, hey, where is the money going? Or what are you planning to do with the groceries? That's not something we're used to. So in the Web3 space, we try to offer people the opportunity to do so. And if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, ask them directly to the founders. They can answer directly themselves, and they can do so live, because then you wouldn't get the time to think about the answer, come up with another answer, and then tell to the other community, hey, well, we are doing this and that, and the money is going to charity, for example. If you ask people something right on the spot, then they'll give you a more honest answer, in my opinion. So the AMAs are just to get to know each other, ask the questions, ask the fun questions, ask the tough questions, but also just to show what you're working on. In a lot of AMAs, they also take the opportunity to share links, share some screenshots, or even share some short clips they have made about the NFT or about the game they're making. So I think it's also just a way of engagement, and a really good way as well.
Okay. And what would be the frequency? What would be your recommendation? One every week, one a month, one every 2 months? What would be your recommendation?
It depends on what they're building, and it depends on the number of partnerships as well. So let's say, just to give you a practical example, you have one project with a launch date set in 4 weeks. So they have 4 weeks to prepare everything. Then I would tell them to have an AMA like once or twice a week, also depending on the partnerships. Because if you have some bigger partnerships, that's something you want to announce. You want to say, hey, we're partnering up with OpenSea, and we're partnering up with Rarible, and we're partnering up with one of the monkey projects, for example. Then you can invite them, or they can invite you, have a chat, talk to each other, answer some questions. That's something you should do at least once a week. You shouldn't do it every day, of course, because then your community will get tired and they won't listen to anything you have to say. But once or twice a week, building up to your launch, that's something you should aim for.
Okay, so it's prior the launch, right? Or
Yes.
what is
after the launch? It's also possible, because, like you said, some projects, aside from their roadmap, they need to get some stuff in order. They need to continue to build after the launch. And then it's still important to keep your community entertained, of course. So then it's also possible you can do an AMA once a week. And in my opinion, once a week is enough. So that's still a possibility after the launch.
Okay, perfect. And okay, that would lead me to another form of question. Did all the thing, partnership, articles, influencer, ask me everything, did all these advice were prior a launch?
You mean if everything's meant for the period
Yes.
before
In
the
fact,
launch?
so I'm going to ask in another form. Okay, so prior the launch, prior launch, what would be the things that you recommend to an NFT project?
A lot. It's a lot. We have a certain schedule prior to the launch, and we typically work with 3 phases. So everything we do is either for phase 1, which is prior to the launch, phase 2, which is during the launch, and phase 3, which is after the launch. So for phase 1, prior to the launch, it's important that you get as much hype as possible, as much organic traction as possible. And you can do so through banners, influencers, AMAs, whatever. But a lot of the things I've mentioned are for the period leading up towards the launch. During the launch, you need to be active on some other stuff. You need to be active more with your community, because during the launch, if everything went as predicted, then you would already have gathered a big community, and you would have them either on Telegram or Discord. It's mainly Discord for NFTs, of course, and on Twitter, for example. So during the launch, you should be focused more on keeping your community informed, being active with your community, and preparing everyone to be able to buy. So your priorities are different during the launch, and then after the launch, you're working on expanding your brand, finding some other partnerships, finding more people to join your community, play in the game. But most of the work happens before the launch, because that's a really critical period. especially with NFTs, because most of the times, if an NFT doesn't completely sell out in a day or two, then people will think, well, this is not a good NFT project. I'll find something else. So a lot of the work we do is before launch, and we do recommend to spend as much time and effort as possible on the period before the launch.
Okay, makes sense. Do you help customers on the phase 3, meaning after the launch?
Yeah,
And
we help them with
so,
all 3 phases.
okay, and so on phase 3, what are your recommendations? What are your advice?
Okay, so for example, if it's a DeFi protocol, aside from NFT projects, then they usually would need to find more clients, more users, more people to trade on their platform, or more people to use their Oracle, more people to gather data for them. And then we work on the business development side. That's also one of the things we offer. So for established projects, DeFi protocols, Oracles, NFT marketplaces, we also help them with the business development. And what we do in general is we find you other projects who are in need of your service. So for example, if you are a developer, if you have a tech company, and you're trying to build on the infrastructural layers, you're trying to build on the, let's say, interface side, just naming out an example, and you're trying to build interfaces for different types of projects. After you have launched or after your website and everything is live and you're fully operational, we help you with the business development side. We find new projects for you who are in need of someone who can build on the infrastructural layer, and we pair them up with you, and you can then offer them your services, or we can close the deal for you. So we take care of everything from finding out who should be your client, getting in touch with the client, setting up a deal, taking care of the paperwork from start to finish. That's also one of the things we offer post-launch, so in phase 3 after the launch. For GameFi projects, of course, after the launch, after the game has been completed and it's fully open for everyone to play, we then help them find other people who are interested in playing the game. And that could be on Twitch, for example, that could be on TikTok, because on Twitch, you have a lot of influencers as well, but you also have a lot of really valid gamers, just people who enjoy playing games. And for us, it's really easy to just get in touch with those gamers and say, hey, do you want to form some sort of collab or partnership, or do you just want to play this game for like 10 to 15 minutes on your next Twitch stream? And then by doing so, their audience is seeing the game. They want to play the game as well. They want to join in on the fun. And that's one of the ways we help them grow after launch. So it completely depends on what the projects need, but we offer any and everything from lead generation, user acquisition, to the more hardcore tech business development.
Okay, perfect. Make a lot of sense. Perfect. So I think we covered everything. Did I didn't ask you a question or didn't cover something that you wanted to talk about?
I think one of the things to mention, the reason why we met is because we were at a crypto event.
Mm-hmm.
And to us, that has been a really critical part of the business, because at the crypto events, you meet a lot of people. You meet founders from new projects, people you can work with. You meet a lot of new influencers, either people who are established in a space or people who just enter the space, people who you can help. You meet investors. You meet all these different kinds of parties, from VCs, influencers, founders, enthusiasts, just like you and I are. And that's why things like this happen. That's why I can join your spotlight. That's why you can talk to me. That's why I can talk to some developers and founders. It's because we're out there. We're in the space in real life as well. We're talking to people online, but we're also visiting events. So for everyone wanting to get in crypto, for everyone who wants to start a project, I think it's important, aside from the online aspect, to also get in touch with people in real life. Just have a drink with someone, have a chat with someone, visit some events nearby or in another country, and step outside of your comfort zone. Just get to know people. I think that's a really important aspect.
Perfect. Thank you for this last advice. So I think on my side, I covered everything. So I don't think of any interesting follow-up question. Do you think about something else? Because this one was a great addition. Doing networking in a real life event. Do you think about something else that can be useful for the audience?
For the people wanting to learn more, I think it's important to read. Start out with the basics, start out with some tutorials, get to know the space, get to know people in the space. Join as many communities as possible, on the NFT side, on the marketplace side, but also communities where they just talk about some fun projects. And don't be afraid, because the Web3 space is pretty small. It's a really small niche, and it's something that you hear about on TV, like, hey, Bitcoin, the price is dumped, Ethereum, there's stuff happening, it's slow. But that's not what the Web3 space is about. It's about finding communities where you can be whoever you want to be, finding communities with people interested in the same things as you are, finding communities of journalists, of influencers, of builders, and just it's another way of life. And to us, it is life. So my final advice for everyone watching, wanting to get into the Web3 space, or wanting to grow in the Web3 space, would be reach out to someone.
Perfect.
It's as simple as that.
Perfect. Thanks, Rochaino. I have two last questions. First one, real quick. It's called decisive pas. So in French, it's pas décisif. And the idea is I'm asking to my guest, which further guest would you want to watch on Robert Spotlight, and which question would you like me to ask him?
Okay, then that's a difficult one. Within the Web3 space, or could be anyone?
It's Robert Spotlight is about Web3, so it makes more sense to be on the Web3 space.
Okay. I think someone who's more on the technical side, so more of a developer, that would be a great one, because they can talk about the Web3 space and crypto in a more technical sense, and they can talk about things that you and I wouldn't understand as easily. So for your audience, I think it would be great to get a feeling for the technical side as well, just to see that the Web3 space is about more than just pictures and games. It's also a new way of building technology, and I think that's a really good one. And then one of the questions you need to ask is, where can people just entering the Web3 space, or people without technical knowledge, find the information in order to be able to actually understand what's happening? Because even for me, that was a pretty difficult part in the beginning, because you had on one side the investors, people who would just throw money at everything, and on the other side you would have the developers. I'm not a technician, I'm not a developer, so it took some time for me to really understand what they were talking about and really get to know some of the technical aspects. And I think that's one of the entry barriers for new people into Web3. They're scared of the tech. And so if you invite a developer or some tech person, that would be really good.
Okay, perfect. And last one for me, it's Rochaino, for you. What is an NFT?
What's an NFT?
Yes.
NFT stands for non-fungible token, and it's something that is unique, that can be replicated, like, for example, gold can. And what I mean with can be replicated is, if you have 1 bar of gold and you're asleep and I would take your bar of gold and I would place another bar, you wouldn't notice it. But with NFTs, because each one is unique, or should be unique, you would know immediately. I can't take someone's NFT, place another one without them noticing. The artwork could be different, the code could be different things. And NFTs are not only artwork, NFTs are just non-fungible tokens, and a token could be anything. So you can even have the deed to your home, you can have papers of ownership for your car, anything could be made into an NFT, because it's just code, but the code is unique.
Perfect. Thank you. That was a very fun conversation, Rochaino. Thank you to have been with me today. We cover everything related, anything marketing related. We talk about partnership, collaboration, articles, influencer, ask me anything. We cover a lot of stuff. So it was a great chat with you. thank you again to.
Thanks for the
to be,
invitation.
Yes, thank you. So
Had a great
I'm
time.
done, and let's talk another time.
Will do. Thanks for the invitation and enjoy.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.